everybody, welcome back to the channel. May 1st today. Just out for a little ride, and if you notice, you can see there 509 miles. So today I just kind of want to do a brief sort of 500 mile impressions with this. I did my video with the first problems I had, and I'm kind of moving past that. I won't get into that today, but now I'm staying positive, moving past everything in the beginning that I had, problems I had, and just wanted to talk about how I feel at 500 miles. And so right now, I feel great. It's a good machine. My thoughts are, a lot of people, when you go into forums and first-time riders like myself, you read a lot about, they get on these and they think they handle funny and dart around and just, you know, this whole front steer mechanism. I don't really notice that. I guess, you know, I describe this to people as a snowmobile for the street, and I've ridden snowmobiles and bikes growing up, but nothing major on the road. But I don't notice the dartiness and the handling issues that a lot of people refer to as a new rider. I still have the death grip going a little bit as a new rider on the road, but I don't think this thing is. It handles great. You can move it around. I like to lean in corners a little bit. I don't feel I'm gonna fly off or you know, I'm in danger, or you know, it doesn't feel awkward to me. So I guess the handling thing is a non-issue for me. I think other people mention that, and one thing you hear a lot is, oh my gosh, you know, first thing you do when you get a Spyder is you get a Baja Ron sway bar. And again, I don't know if I need that. It's one of those things where maybe I don't know what I don't know, and you know, if I rode this stock Sea to Sky and then jumped on another machine with a comparable machine with a Baja Ron sway bar on it, drove it on the same road or route, and then jumped back on this, would I be like, oh my God, like, have to have that? I don't know. So for now, it's not on my radar. I guess comment below, but it's not something of a mod that I think I'm going to make in the near future. So we'll see. I know it's very popular with folks, and it's one thing that also that I think, you know, maybe BRP should notice that if they've got a product that pretty much the aftermarket has found a position or a part to put on this thing that improves it, you know, why doesn't BRP just sort of step up and do that from the factory? I mean, maybe they don't think it's a problem, and they engineer it, and it's you know, the ride dynamics are the way they are. It's just how they feel they like it, and it's not a problem. But you know, I guess I retired from the major OEM, and we would look at what aftermarket was doing. We looked at what people said about the products, and if there was something the aftermarket kind of turned on to and we felt made the product better, because you know, in some cases you engineer something for cost or reasons that maybe you can't get something the way you want it, and the aftermarket comes in. But yeah, you should, if you're a major company, you should keep an eye on what people are doing in the aftermarket, because if I were BRP, I would want some of that business either make their own, and maybe they do. I haven't looked. Maybe they have a sway bar kit or something as an accessory, because there's accessories galore on these things. As you can see, I put on the lower chin little light. I thought that was kind of a nice touch. You know, I didn't buy the expensive BRP light. I bought the Sling Mods version for I think $69 or $79. The BRP was over $200. But there again, they just put a plastic panel on that lower chin. You take two T15 bolts out of there, and there's a light plug already there, and away you go. So they chose not to put that on, but they want to sell you one afterwards. So anyway, just a thought on that. So yeah, the sway bar thing, not really a fan. I think I haven't went on any extended road trips yet, but I kind of wish for a bigger fuel tank. Not sure what I'm ultimately going to get for mileage as I'm breaking this in, but 7 gallons, you know, I've had to fill up a time or two already, and one time I filled up and I didn't get it full. It kicked off, I thought it was full, I get back on, I'm 2 bars down, and the next time I did fill it up. So I'm going to start tracking the mileage. I think people say 30 to 35 is normal. So I wish I had a little more range, but again, I haven't been on that big trip yet, so maybe it's not a concern. I do like how they had their over-the-air software update, and now I have a fuel consumption gauge in the middle. As you can see, it's 117 mile to empty, and currently I'm averaging 29. which seems low, but again, I've had some idle hours and it's breaking in. I haven't really been hot rodding it, but I think 29 is low, and maybe the calculation isn't the same as if I were, you know, scratch working it on a piece of paper. So that's just something, you know, a little quib, nothing major. Yeah, it's comfortable. I feel safe on it. I like the size. I feel like I have a good presence in traffic. I'm seen, and it just kind of, there's some heft and bulk to it, unlike some motorcycles or smaller vehicles. So that's kind of nice from a safety perspective. Again, you're on 3 wheels. You're not going to fall over. You're not going to spin out. You're going to slide out. So that's just something that's awesome. You can just kind of get on and go. And I love the storage. Again, haven't taken a long trip, but I've run some errands in this, and you can put stuff in the side, the frunk, and the trunk, and that's going to be awesome. Like just being able to go somewhere, pack something, throw it in there, run some errands. You know, it's a kind of a toy hobby vehicle, but I plan on using it for some daily needs and some errands. You know, it's one of those things where if the weather's right and I can take the Spyder and still get the same thing done, heck, I'm going to try it. So that's cool. I like the storage. Something I don't really like is that obviously, and everybody I think hates it, is the Apple CarPlay. I love the screen. I was looking at 23 models just because they were discounted, and by the way, I got a really good deal on this one. I'll probably make a video on that. But that split digital screen, it's nice. Nothing against people who have that, but aesthetically, I like the look of this one. And I like that they've updated it, like I said, and switched out a voltmeter for a fuel consumption gauge. But that Apple CarPlay, man, that's a kind of a pain. I made an initial video on how to kind of set that up and get going with it, and it's quirky, and it's a process of letting things start up between your phone and the connections to BRP and plugging it in, and then it comes up, and then, you know, I don't know. I just think with a Cardo on my helmet and my phone, that's the way I'm going to go. I can easily take a call, tap my Cardo, answer it, tap my Cardo to hang up. Not that I want to just be, you know, talking on the phone all the time. It's just easy. It just works. It pairs and it works. People can hear me, and I can look at the nav on my phone and hear it in my helmet, and you know, it's not as big of a screen that's in front of me like CarPlay, but it just works. This Apple CarPlay business of, you know, how quirky it is and getting it working. And then I was looking at the manual because I spent a couple hours yesterday trying to make it another video. Folks were asking about how to send and receive calls through CarPlay, and I was having some issues. It was glitching up and freezing, and I went into the manual, and there's a section that just says, hey, there's things that are disabled when you're in motion. Though I was sitting in the garage, it was a rainy day, but they don't really want you making or accepting phone calls. It says right in the manual that these things listed are, you know, basically inactive when you're driving, and one of them is initiating a phone call. So, and I get it. We don't want to all be distracted. We just, you know, we want to ride and pay attention and sometimes escape all the communication and social media and all that stuff. But there are times there's an emergency and you want to call someone or make a call, but it's just kind of clunky. Like I said, I'm just going to use my Cardo and my phone. I appreciate what they've done. It's just, to me, a bit of a poor implementation, and maybe they'll improve it some more. I think the last software update was supposed to have some CarPlay robustness, you know, additions to it. So that's kind of nice that they can do that, but I'm just not a big CarPlay fan. I get the idea. I'm just going to stick to my phone, I think, and my Cardo, and go from there. So yeah, I think just, you know, riding this and using it, it's comfortable, like I said, and I haven't had any problems. Again, long-term reliability is going to be a question for me. I've started out of the gate with some issues, and we'll see. So in this review, can't speak to reliability. You know, catch me at 10,000 miles when I can say, hey, I you know, didn't have any problems, and this thing is rock solid. But I'm liking it at 500. I really want to get some more miles racked up. I'm thinking about a long-term trip to visit some friends in the Carolinas. I think that would be good, to take all back roads and do a little bit of a long journey instead of some local things. But again, as a beginner, I really don't have any major complaints. I don't use the stereo. I can't comment on that. I don't even have any station set. I don't listen to the radio. I just kind of drive, and I'm in my own thoughts or making a video or something, but can't comment on speakers or stereo or stuff like that. I do want to get Some of the BRP lighted floorboards, I think those look really nice. That might be a future mod. I don't want to make this thing look like a Christmas tree with all the lights and flashers and stuff illuminating all over and glowing. Hey, to each their own. I know a lot of people like to do that, but not my speed. I kind of want to keep it mostly stock, so there's some opportunities there, but don't have a huge wish list of mods. I just kind of like things stock for the most part if the manufacturers have done it right. So yeah, I don't have any big major knocks yet. It's comfortable, like I said. It does what it's supposed to do. Well, I do notice back to the ride, Michigan roads are terrible, and so it's smooth riding, asterisk, but since your center wheel is sort of going down the middle, and around here the roads are bad, and the trucks and cars with four wheels kind of smash down the path, that middle tire rides in the middle where you'll get humps and bumps. And so even making these videos, I notice I sound like my voice is like when I'm going over some roads that are rough. So that's interesting. Or dodging something on the road because you got that wheel in the center, so you're coming up to something and you're like, oh my god, I've got a center between the two front wheels and the rear. I got to find that little space on each side if I'm going to miss whatever it is, an animal or a piece of shrapnel or something. So that's always a thought when you're going down the road. And one other thing I really like too, I mentioned it in my other video, is the fact that this thing really does, I have the windshield up all the way, but it just really, there's not any wind buffeting. Haven't spent a fair amount of time on the freeway, but just riding around town 55 to 65 miles an hour, it's keeping all the wind off you. They did a great job in the wind tunnel with these deflectors and making sure that there's not much buffeting. I'm pretty much sitting in a quiet cocoon behind this windscreen, and then, like I said, some days I think it's actually hot. But so that's nice. I'm just not getting buffeted and blown around. And it's so big, when you do have wind, on my Vespa, not a fair comparison, but this thing handles strong side winds pretty well. You'll move a little bit, but it's so girthy that you're not just getting blown out of your lane or moving around a lot or nervous in traffic when you get those big gusts. And when I drove it home from the dealer, it was really windy, and I did just fine. And I'm assuming in the rain, this windshield and going down the road, you're going to get some pretty good protection for getting wet. So we'll see. I'm going to get some rain gear in case I'm ever hung out in rain, but for now, can't tell much about that. But I assume it would be okay. So. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to mention too is something I've noticed. Don't know if you guys have noticed it on yours. I think I saw one other comment in a forum. When I'm driving in fifth gear, 49 to 50, 29 to 3,000 RPM, I have quite a bit of a whine, and I assume it's coming from the belt. It's pretty high pitched to the point where I notice it, and I either then have to regulate speed, gear, or whatever, up or down, just to get out of that, modulate it away from that zone. Yeah, it's right in that fifth gear, 3,050 mile an hour range. It just develops this whine, and I don't know if that's a belt thing or a newness of the belt thing. And again, later on with higher mileage, that will just go away. Not a concern for me to run back to the dealer yet, but we'll keep an eye on it. So let me know if you guys have experienced that. Again, assuming it's a belt thing. I don't know what other gears are involved with the transmission and final drive ratios and that kind of thing, but I definitely did notice it a couple of times, almost every time I ride it and I get into that zone. So something to keep an eye on, but that's just something I noticed so far at 0 to 500 miles. Well, I was going to say, another thing I do like and appreciate is all the heated amenities. Here in Michigan, when it gets colder, I'm going to appreciate these heated grips and heated seat. I think that's awesome. That's one of the things that's just an extra. I don't need it per se, but it's definitely going to help. I think I'm going to enjoy in the shoulder seasons of having heated seat and heated grips, and my wife will appreciate the heated seat and the heated grab handles for herself in the rear. I think it's a good touch. Again, I've never come from a big bike, so I think maybe that's standard, but I do appreciate it on the Spyder. So yeah, that's kind of my 500 mile take. Curious to what you guys think. Let me know what I've got in store for thousands of miles, but if it gets even better. But impressed, I like it. My feeling of owning it is sort of like getting better every day. My choice of what I've done, I think, is as I've gotten away from my initial issues and I'm out enjoying it, just getting better and better. So I don't have any complaints there. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments as always, and we will catch you on another ride. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.